What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about something different than what you've probably been hearing a lot about over the past couple days, with the news about the SEC, coins dropping 25% plus, Pulsechain doing terrible. Let's give you guys a little bit of positive news. So on the Pulsechain ecosystem, you guys know I've been talking a lot about Pulse. One of the things that I've been looking forward to is looking at dApps that are developed on here. So this is one of a couple different dApps that I've seen developed in the Pulsechain ecosystem that's doing pretty well. Now there are some caveats with this, and I know a lot of you are newer to the crypto space when it comes to contracts like these 3D contracts. I've seen tons and tons of these in the past before, and if you don't know what you're doing, definitely don't mess with this thing at all. But like I said, this can be a potentially lucrative contract, if not just a fun little game to mess around with. So I'm going to show you guys how it works and hopefully explain it to you in a way that makes sense. And if you guys want to try it out, you can try it out for yourself. Or, of course, like I said, since this is a risky contract, you can wait until the next one comes out. Wait until kind of the market recovers and stay on the sideline like a lot of people are doing. So, again, shout outs to one of my Patreons over there on Discord. He actually brought this to my attention about 5 or 6 days ago. So if you guys want the inside information on a lot of new stuff, Discord is a great place to find some of that information. Now, whether you're a part of my Discord from joining my Patreon or something else, someone else's Discord or Telegram, like I said, that's a good starting point to find a lot of these new projects when they're fresh out the gate. So this one, like I said, is called Stronghands3D, and this is very similar to P3D contracts from back in the day. It works pretty much the same with a few differences. They kind of added some bonuses on here just to make it a little bit more sustainable and just so you can do a little bit more stuff here. So let me just go through this. I'm going to do a buy in here just so you guys can kind of see what's happening on the back end. This says my PLS3D, my Pulse 3D. So if we go ahead and buy, I'm going to buy about $50 worth of this. I think $50 is about 500,000 Pulse. So if I spend 500,000 Pulse, which is about $50, I'm going to get approximately 55,239 PLS3D. So let me do that first, and then hopefully you guys will understand what this means in a second. It says the gas fees are going to be messed up, so I'm going to have to change this up a little bit, or do this after the video, so that the gas fees don't fail and I don't waste a whole bunch of money. But nonetheless, let's just pretend that that did go through, and I was able to purchase this 55,239 Pulse 3D. So what essentially happens is, once I have that Pulse 3D, I'm immediately subject to 20% of fees. So you lose 20% of your money as soon as you press the buy button. Well, not really as soon as you press the buy button. It's as soon as you press buy and sell. But overall, I mean, you can say as soon as you press the buy button, you've lost 20% of your money. So you might say, well, King of Fomo, what's the point of me buying into this smart contract if I'm going to immediately lose 20% of my money? Well, the way that these hourglass contracts work is the longer you're in the contract, the more dividends or earnings you're going to get from people buying and selling within the contract. So some people might say that this is Ponzi-esque and they want to avoid it at all costs. And if you think that, then definitely avoid it. But it's built a little bit differently than that, so that you have funds coming into you on the buys and the sells. So it works sort of like a regular market in that sense. So with those tokens, I said about 55,000 Pulse 3D tokens, they're going to be worth a certain amount. But like I said, no matter what these are worth, as long as people are buying and selling, you're going to get earnings from every single buy and every single sell happening in the contract. And those will stay with you, and you're able to claim that and take that out. Keep that as Pulse in your wallet. You're going to claim that in Pulse tokens, not in PLS3D tokens, right? So that Pulse tokens are going to be the ones that are actually worth, a stable value. Okay, so that's the first kind of prong in this project. The second prong in this project is, well, what do you do with your Pulse 3D tokens? Well, again, the coin is algorithmically coded to increase as people buy and decrease as people sell, right? So it's sort of its own exchange, if you see it that way. And you can't really trade this on PulseX or anything else, but the Pulse 3D token and this whole contract kind of settles all that for you, does all the exchanges and the values within the contract. So again, if more people buy this token, you have the option to sell your 55,000 tokens for a higher price and get out, provided that the price of your tokens are worth a little bit more than 20% of what you put in, right? Because again, you lost 20% as soon as you press that buy button, right? So again, price of the token will determine the price of your Pulse 3D, and you can sell those tokens. Now, when you do sell your tokens, you stop getting earnings, right? Your earnings will decrease proportional to the amount of tokens that you have sold, right? If you sold all your tokens, you get no more earnings from people doing buys and sells. So that's how this contract works in a nutshell. It's all about the earnings, and have people bought before you, after you, how much is the price of the coin worth? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to hold it? It's all up to you in terms of that strategy, right? And there's a few other things as well. You can get things for referral incomes. There's this Sacrifice 3D thing. You guys can read about that yourself. I'm not really going to talk about that too much. It's sort of just a game. And there's this thing called a raise floor price. You really don't have to mess with this button too much or worry about it too much. You can read the documentation if you want to get into the details of the other stuff, but the main part of the game is really what you want to worry about. Now, the last part I'll talk about with Stronghands3D is why 20%, right? I talked about the fact that you immediately lose 20%. Where does that go? Well, a portion of it goes to the price of the coin, right? So the price of the coin is going to go up by approximately 20%, a little less than that, from your buys and sells. And again, it's to prevent people from immediately just cashing out right away and dumping the price of the token. You have to sort of have some skin in the game for a while to really keep the coin going and keep the motivation of people talking about it and continuing. So that's where that 20% goes. Every time you buy and sell, 10% will go to all of people's earnings for your buy, and about 10% will go to all of people's earnings when you sell. So that's where that 20% comes from. Some of it also goes to the dev wallet and some other stuff in here too. So it's not exactly 10%, but that's pretty much how it goes. Alright, so that about explains Stronghands3D. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of clarity. If that was too confusing, I know since this is not new to me, it seemed like a pretty easy explanation, but if that was really confusing, let me know in the comments section. And of course, if you guys have other dApps, this is sort of a very basic rudimentary dApp. If you have other dApps that are happening on Pulsechain, let me know in the comments section, or if you join my Patreon and become a member over there, let me know on my Patreon. That way we can kind of jump in on this stuff together and really dig into it, whether it's going to be good or bad. Now, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is the risks involved with Stronghands. Like I said before, if you're unfamiliar with this and you're scared of it, don't go dumping the bank in here. I wouldn't really touch it too much because there's definitely risk involved. Some of the biggest risks include the price of that PLS3D token. If that price plummets and everyone sells, you lose significantly more, just because all of the liquidity is on here, right? So if everyone sells on here, then all of the liquidity is gone and you lose pretty much all of your money. And now you will get some earnings back from Pulse, so you'll get a little bit back, but overall you're gonna have a massive loss with whatever you put in. So do keep that in mind before you dump in $50,000 or whatever in Pulse 3D. So there is that. The other kind of caveat that comes with this, one of the reasons why I stopped doing these contracts a long time ago, is because they can sort of be gamed. They can sort of be manipulated hardcore at the launch. You can have some shenanigans, some nefarious shenanigans if you have one or two people buy a crap load of tokens at launch before they give the contract out to people, and then they can really crash the price with just like 2 or 3 people. So that's another risk that you have to be aware of. I actually have to look at that. Maybe I'll do that in my live stream. We'll kind of look through this hourglass token and see who has the most of these Stronghands tokens, and I would stay tuned for that for sure, before you ape too much into here to really dissect, is this contract vulnerable to some exploitation from the first couple people that bought into there. Alright, that is everything for today, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, I'm itching to find some more projects while we're in this sort of down day for crypto as everything's down like 20%. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.